Good evening and happy Monday. I know you have seen a lot of me between yesterday and today, but today I have a special edition of Let's Talk About It. Today I'm overly excited. These ladies are very talented and very educated, and most important, they are HBCU graduates. They are all doctors and optometrists in various states, cities, and things like that. I will bring them on one by one, and we are just going to talk about so many things. And I don't want to share everything. So when they come on, please, 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 if you hit that like, share, comment button, be engaged. If you want to participate in the conversation, the instructions are scrolling across the bottom. So we have Dr. Ngadi.
Hi.
We have Dr. Tiffany Humes.
Hey, y'all.
And our friend with the fabulous frames, as always, Dr. Johnson.
Hello.
So, welcome, ladies. I'm so glad that you are giving me your time on a Monday, a 3-day weekend Monday.
Happy to be here.
Yes, as I shared in the introduction, I was like, I'm not going to tell all their secrets, but let's introduce ourselves.
Okay. I'm going to start, guys. Hello. And thank you so much, Monique, and then Dr. Johnson, for thinking about me for this program. I am always super, super excited to talk about my HBCU experience, of course, and then now getting to share with you all what it is that I do and my passion and all the stuff behind it. So yes, as Monique said, I'm Dr. Wamaka Ngadi. I am a first generation Nigerian American, and I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, where I currently reside now. I attended private school most of my life, and then I had always thought, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. And so I was encouraged by a family friend to go to Xavier University, which we know is one of the number one HBCUs for getting African Americans into health related schools. So I had the absolutely amazing opportunity to go to Xavier University in Louisiana. And I like to say I grew up really in New Orleans because I think college is when you really grow up, right? So grew up a lot more in New Orleans and had an amazing experience with a lot of very intelligent people where I learned a lot of stuff, but I also had a lot of fun. And there is no other, I don't even know how you can claim to have a better college experience if you didn't go to a HBCU. My screen went out for a second. But yeah, we had a blast. We had so much fun at Xavier. You would be surprised that people actually graduate and go on to health professional schools, but you can do it. And so after Xavier, I actually came back to Atlanta for a year. When I was in my senior year of at Xavier, I took the MCAT, was trying to go to medical school, and that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And so I remember, true story, y'all, true story. Tiffany, Dr. Humes, was one of my college roommates. We lived in this fabulous house off of St. Charles Street in New Orleans, and that was part of the good time. So that's a story for another day. But at any rate, I was riding down St. Charles with Tiffany, and I was telling her I didn't know what I was going to do. And Tiffany actually told me, she was like, girl, come over here and join me in optometry. You can be a primary care practitioner. You'll still have patients, and you'll also be able to have a great work-life balance. And I was like, oh, that sounds dope. So I actually ended up doing a summer program, and I restudied for the I was still kind of trying to see if my little plan A was going to go the way I wanted it to go, if I was going to be able to somehow sneak into medical school. And God just knew that I didn't need to be there because I ended up getting waitlisted when I retook the MCATs and reapplied to medical school. But I got into the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, which is where I completed my optometry degree. And so got my doctorate in optometry there alongside these beautiful, fabulous women. Tiffany was my big sister, and I think Essence your big sister. I don't know,
yes, she was.
where this lifeline of women actually like helped me float my way through that process, because it wasn't easy, but baby, I did it and I got it done. So after optometry school, Essence encouraged me to do a residency. And so guess what? I also am a residency trained optometrist, and Essence actually did the same residency that I did. So she completed it 2 years. Was it 2 years before me in Atlanta, Omni? So
Mm-hmm.
I did. I got my residency training at Omni Eye Services of Atlanta, where in ocular disease. So I had that exposure, and after that happened, after those grueling 13 months, Essence, let's say, have a moment of silence for those 13 months, that 13th month residency. Um, which was a very transformative experience for me in a lot of ways, right? So I got really good at very quickly diagnosing ocular disease and just being able to make very confident and comfortable decisions for my patients. But I also realized that I didn't want to do that. Don't want to do it. I don't want to deliver this bad news to people. I like to be able to say at the end of the exam, your eyes look great, and here is your prescription. And I realize I like instant gratification. I like things to go well, and I want them to just go well and go forward. We have words for this stuff now. I guess people call themselves empaths, and that's who I am. So I digest so much energy if things aren't going the way I want them to go, or in a favorable outcome. Um, so I wanted to get into a mode of practice where things were pretty much routine, and I love it. I love it there. I feel that I'm able to deliver my patients a very good experience in a quick and concise manner, get them in, get them out, but also make them educate them on what's going on. And then I feel that I'm in a great place, because in that place, when I do see ocular emergencies or ocular urgencies, sometimes what we call them, maybe you don't need to go right away, but you maybe need to go in a few days. I make very responsible referrals to either another optometrist or an ophthalmologist that may be able to handle or manage those conditions that I do not do in my office. So I have actually owned a practice. So it was after that residency, I was like, I'm not working for anybody else. So I started reaching out to some of my connects, and I ended up getting a lease and becoming a leaseholder. So optometry, in my opinion, is a super, super cool way that people can own businesses, because a lot of us have the opportunity to lease these spaces where we are the owner of the business, but we don't have as many like investment, if you will. Like, I didn't have to buy a building, and I didn't have to do any of that stuff. I pay a lease and I rent equipment from them. And so I've had my own business, I Totally Care LLC, since 2013. And I've had a few different locations. I now currently have a lease in a retail location right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I am still providing amazing, amazing ocular service and education to my community. Love it. It's over in East Point, Georgia. Um, can y'all see these comments? Um, and so yes, we're trying to do the thing down here in East Point, Georgia. And so in this process, or in my practice, I found that I had a lot of patients that were having difficulties finding frames that fit their faces. As we know, I serve a large Black population in my area, and a lot of my patients would go out and they'd be like, Doc, they ain't got nothing out there that fits me. And so they'd be putting the women in men's frames. And so that is kind of where the inception for my line came. I knew that I wanted to do a line in optometry school, but I think a lot of us say that and we don't really know what that means. So as time went by, I would like try on, I worked in all these opticals, so I would go out and try on all the glasses, and the glasses would be too short. They wouldn't hook over my ears, or as soon as I would smile, the glasses would go all the way up like this. And so I was like, I need something for me. And as the years went by, it just became more and more and more important for me to try to figure out how I could make this happen. So during COVID, or in the process of COVID, I did one of the most difficult things, even more difficult than that residency. And I created a frame line designed to fit Black and African features optimally. And so, yeah, I am going to be changing glasses throughout this production just so y'all can see some of the line. I have 8 different styles that all can go. They can be both sun lenses or sun frames, and they are also prescription. You can put prescriptions in them. So, yep, I'm going to be changing glasses. They said Essence did this last week, and I'm going to do the same thing because it's fun. Who doesn't like to show off their frames? So, I think I said everything as an introduction, and I can't wait to see some of the questions that come up later, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I love the frames. I was sitting here like, ooh. I definitely love them. So we will hear from Dr. Humes next. So
hello, everybody. Thank you to my Detroit sister Monique, as well as Dr. Johnson, for the invitation to be here with y'all. It's such an honor. I have known these two young women for a long time, but I took a more meandering path to my HBCU, which was also Xavier University of Louisiana. When I finished high school in a small suburb outside of Detroit, I thought I wanted to go to the big PWI. And I went for 2 years, and I absolutely hated it. It was too large. The class sizes were not conducive to really learning. And it wasn't the way that I was used to learning as well. I was not used to having professors that were not truly invested in me. And I wasn't used to having professors that didn't really care to know my name or get to know me as a person. And so after my second year, I decided that I was going to transfer to a school that would invest in me if I did the work. And I found Xavier University of Louisiana, which is the number one school in the country for putting Black students into medical school as well as other STEM fields, including optometry. And so I was 20 years old when I got to Xavier. I had to live in a freshman dorm. I was older than everyone else that was in the building, but I still was able to make new friends. I was able to find my place, and that place was at Xavier. I learned how to work hard and party harder. And it was an amazing experience to be around a whole bunch of people who are also trying to do the exact same thing that you are. Everyone in all of your bio pre-med classes is trying to go to med school or optometry school or dental school. And so you're literally surrounded by other minds who are just as focused as you are. And your professors are just as invested in making sure that you get to that end goal, whichever type of graduate program that is. And for me, that was priceless. And so at 20 years old, I left everything I knew from Detroit and I moved to New Orleans, not knowing a soul. I had actually never even been to Xavier before. I had certainly never been to New Orleans. I wasn't ready for the heat. I wasn't ready for the bugs. I wasn't ready for how lively New Orleans was. But like Dr. Ngati said, I became who I am today at Xavier. And I'll forever be eternally thankful. And while I was there, I did also pledge Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the Gamma Alpha chapter and my line sisters just took me in and helped form the building blocks of the Dr. Tiffany Humes that I am today. And so when I finished at Xavier, I knew I wanted to be an optometrist. I actually have a cousin who is also an optometrist. Rare, absolutely, that there's another Black woman that I happen to be related to who is also an eye doctor. And so for me, that was my saving grace. I actually worked in her practice every summer from high school all the way through college. And so I knew kind of early on that I wanted to be an eye doctor. And I knew where I wanted to go to school. I had left Detroit, which is the largest Black city in America. I moved to New Orleans, which is another large Black chocolate city. And I said, I want to go to school in a place where I am also surrounded by Black people who look like me, who I can serve. And so I ended up in Philadelphia at the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. At Salus University is what they call it now. And I also did the same summer enrichment program that Dr. Ngati did. And that summer enrichment program essentially was just a 2-week course before the first day of classes. And it essentially prepared you to kind of get into the rhythm of graduate school. It's completely different than college. You go from taking maybe 17 course hours per semester to like 35 course hours per semester. And you're expected to keep up with all of those classes, and as well as get in the clinic and learn how to be an eye doctor as well. And so I was so thankful for the summer enrichment program. After 4 years, I finished. While I was at Xavier, I met Dr. Johnson. She kind of took me under her wing. She was in the class above me. She went on to do a residency in Atlanta and convinced me that I should do a residency too. And so I did my residency back home in Detroit because I knew I wanted to go back to Detroit. That was my final destination. And I knew that from the very beginning. Thanks, Dr. Glover. And so I went back to Detroit. And I did my residency actually in Jackson, Michigan, which is kind of in the middle of the state. And I drove every day. I drove an hour to my residency in Jackson while living at home with my parents. And that absolutely is the most transformative experience of my optometry life to date. I also learned how to treat and manage and diagnose very, very quickly. My residency was primarily ophthalmologist. I was the only optometry resident, and there was only one other optometrist who was my preceptor. And so I essentially was working with ophthalmologists all day long. And so I became very good at observing from the moment that I walk into the room. So there's so many things that we notice about you before we even sit down to talk to you. And so I was trained to look at a patient's gait, to look at how they are, how they view the world. And so we're looking at how you're looking around. We're looking at whether or not you notice things that are right next to you, because that can very quickly tell us if you have what we call a visual field deficit. So if you're missing either the upper or the lower or the side portion of your vision, I learned very quickly to get to the point with my patients, but also make sure that you feel that I'm compassionately listening to what is going on with your eyes. Because I found that the most important portion for me of patient care is that connection, is that making sure that you know that I am just as invested in your health as I hope that you are invested in your health. We'll answer Dr. Glover's question in a few minutes. So essentially, I learned to, although I do my work quickly, I learned to take my time so that my patients can understand what's going on with their eyes. In ocular disease, most of the time our patients are very sick. So our patients may have diabetes and hypertension and high cholesterol, all of which may not be under good control. And that is the reason that they're sitting in our chair. So they're sitting in our chair because they can't see, because there have been ocular side effects in their eyes from the diseases that are going on in their bodies. And so helping patients make that connection between the two, that this metformin is important because not only does it help and make sure that you don't have to go on dialysis, but also make sure that you continue to see well for the rest of your life. And so for that reason, I really have become what I would call a diabetes advocate. I spend much of my day talking about how patients can treat their bodies better so that we can make sure that your eyes are better. And actually, part of the reason, and I came back to Detroit so that I could work with my people. So I practice in Detroit, in downtown Detroit, at the largest nonprofit health system in the state. And I see our people all day, every day. I am seeing patients who I treat like they're related to me, like you're my aunt, like you're my grandmother, like you're my uncle. And we have these candid conversations every single day, because I need them to understand that I want you to see well. And the only way for you to see well is for you to treat your body well. And so we have full conversations about things that they may not think have anything to do with their eyes, but it is actually the most important information that they need. What else was I going to tell you guys about? Things that I do outside of work. I am involved in a number of different groups in our area. Number one, I'm involved in the Black Eye Care Perspective with Dr. Johnson, as well as what's called the National Optometrist Association, which is the largest grouping of minority optometrists in the country, and that was started in 1969. And so what those groups do is we work to increase the number of Black people in optometry, as well as share the message about eye health with people who look just like us.
Awesome. That was awesome. You had
Y'all, Tiffany is my line sister, and I forgot to mention that, and that's really important.
Yes,
And I'm
Amaka is
just
my
throwing
line
that in right
sister.
now. Yeah, that's very
Also,
important,
she was
guys.
my roommate in college.
People need to know.
Yes. That's how we ended up in the car together riding down St. Charles on that fateful day.
oh Lord. That has to be you have me intrigued. Like what happened on St. Charles?
A lot of stuff happened on St.
A
Charles,
lot of
but on
stuff
that
happened on
day,
St. Charles.
On a normal
the
day.
course of
That
my
is a story
life
for another day.
From sauce.
Daryl had Dr. Glover had a really good and important
did.
question. And I think that Essence, since you're up, you should explain that because I think you are the most eloquent out of this group.
Absolutely.
I'll answer the question first before I go into my story on how an HBCU found me. But Dr. Glover posed a good question. What is the difference between optometry or becoming an optometrist and ophthalmology or becoming an ophthalmologist? While both are eye care professionals, they are trained in the diagnosis, treatment, and management of the eye. People will more commonly associate ophthalmology with the surgical practices. So we are talking about removing cataracts. If you have glaucoma, there's particular surgeries with that. Doing LASIK surgery. We talk a lot about diabetes. That's a big one. There's a lot of lasers and injections and procedures that go with that. While there are a few states where there are some optometrists that have some of those privileges, in general, we are not doing those types of surgery or surgical types of things. We do minor surgical procedures, though, too, as well, like removing a foreign body in the eye. I'll have a story about that when I get to my journey about all of the foreign bodies I have removed from someone's eye when I was doing a residency in Georgia. There are also some states that can do some laser procedures as well. But typically, when you're going into these community health practices, these corporate optometry practices, private practices, you're probably seeing the optometrist who is checking your eyes, checking for any health conditions, prescribing you your glasses. Cue new frame, and also your contact lenses. But if your retina is detaching, leaking, bleeding, you have cataracts or other things, then you're going to go and see the ophthalmologist. So hello again, everyone. Hello again, Monique. I'm happy to be here with my optometry little sisters. We have 3 generations of optometry sisters here, so that's a very exciting time. I am Dr. Essence Johnson, an HBCU MAID residency trained community and correctional health optometrist. I had the wonderful experience and opportunity to graduate from Prairie View A&M University. And I will say one thing that a lot of people probably do not know about me is that I'm originally a born and raised Californian. And it was actually a phone call that I got from Dr. Brown, who is still at Prairie View today. I was all set to go to my state school at PWI, and I received a phone call one day, and the person on the other end was like, "Hey, can I speak to Essence? We have a scholarship for you." And I was like, "A scholarship? Not just any scholarship, a full ride 4-year presidential scholarship." So Dr. Brown had called my house and told me that he was offering me a scholarship to go to Prairie View, study biology, which he knew I was interested in, and invited me to come and visit the campus. So me and my dad, we had got into my best friend's car. Hey, Raquel, she just celebrated a birthday. She had relocated to Texas to be closer to her family. And I remember me and my dad, we drove her car down there so that she could have it her senior year. And then we went and visited the campus of Prairie View A&M University. And for me, I absolutely fell in love with the campus culture, with the people, with the biology, or the new science building is what they called it at the time, with the program and everything. I absolutely knew that I could not pass up on the opportunity to go to college for absolutely free. It has been the biggest blessing that could have ever been bestowed upon me. So thank you, Dr. Brown, for giving me that opportunity. I personally am a product of summer program after summer program. Dr. Humes alluded to one that I'll talk more about, but when I went to Prairie View, I got to be part of the Pre-Medical Concepts Institute, or PCI, which allowed you to come to school a couple of weeks earlier before everyone started classes. For me, it was literally leaving California the day after I graduated and getting on a plane to Prairie View, Texas, which, like Dr. Humes, I never had ever been to the state of Texas, let alone to the city of Prairie View. So for me, it was a huge culture shock. I think a lot of people ask, how was it going to an HBCU? It was amazing. But even being amongst so many people that look like you does not eradicate having any type of obstacles or problems or challenges. And for me, originally, culturally, trying to adapt from going from the West Coast to the South and just learning all of the Southern colloquialisms and culture, it was a challenge at first for me. But once I got into the groove, found a good roommate, then everything was amazing. Like Tiffany and Amaka, or Dr. Humes and Dr. Ngadi, I also pledged a sorority. So I'm a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Delta Alpha chapter. And from there, that's where kind of all of my professionalisms began to take foot. I was a part of the Pre-Optometry Professional Society at Prairie View, and Dr. Howard Lee Block, who did an amazing job of taking people like myself and Dr. Hentz and others to just the University of Houston College of Optometry, to the Capitol. We did a lot of work with Prevent Blindness and things like that. So just a lot of things to immerse ourselves in just everything optometry. So I knew going into undergrad that I was going to major in the sciences and that I was going to pursue a degree in optometry afterwards. So every step that I kind of took and every class that I took was help geared to getting all of those prerequisite classes done so that I can apply, so that I could take the OAT, which is the optometry admissions test, my junior year, and then also apply to optometry school as well. So during that process, you guys have seen a lot of comments from Dr. Jacoby Cleaver. That's where I picked him up and met him. We did a lot during our time in undergrad, going to two kind of neighboring schools and learning about optometry, but we also got accepted into the Texacop program, which was the Texas Careers Opportunity Program at the University of Houston College of Optometry, which is another opportunity to, again, immerse yourself in all things optometry. We got to go to the clinic, examine patients, learn cases, just be amongst a lot of like-minded people. So that was summer program number 2 for me. Then as I was graduating from Prairie View and applying to optometry school, I ultimately decided to attend the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, now at Salish University, to complete my degree in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I was invited to participate in the summer enrichment program as well. So summer program number 3. And that's where we picked up Dr. Daryl Glover, who you guys see in the comments as well. So just from those 3 summer programs alone, I was able to, one, meet a lot of friends, but more importantly, also surround myself with like-minded people, which is very important in this journey, because sometimes it can seem very alienating or very isolating. But when you have good friends who give you good peer pressure, who are good role models, who let you cry on their shoulder in 1 minute, but they're also your hype girls and men, it really makes this journey very enjoyable. So I went to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. I was our class vice president all 4 years, had the opportunity to be immersed in the National Optometric Student Association, which is the student version of the National Optometric Association that Dr. Humes had mentioned. We did a lot of screenings with the Lions Club and things of that nature too as well. And then after graduating, I did do a residency in ocular disease at Omni Eye Services of Atlanta, where it was just another opportunity, I think, always when I do this, to be that big sister, but also to be a mentor and to be an example. So yes, like Dr. Humes and Dr. Ngadi said, they were like, Dr. Johnson told me, or at that time, Dr. Robinson, yes, I am always rooting for everyone who is Black, but I tell all of my optometry little brothers and sisters, like, hey, you know, this is game. You know, you want to definitely help and pull other people along. You definitely want to give them the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts. And I'm very happy that Dr. Ngadi and Dr. Humes kind of followed my advice or followed in my footsteps too, to say that we are all residency trained optometrists, and we all have an affinity to ocular disease, which really impacts our minority communities. And for us, that means that we are a little more dedicated to ongoing education, that we're always making sure that we have the most recent information and treatments when it comes to things like the 3 silent killers, glaucoma, hypertension, and diabetes as well. From leaving that residency, well, I'll tell you my residency story about foreign bodies. So I always have a memorable case. And I think last time I shared about breast cancer, going to the eye for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But one of my most memorable patients when I was at Omni was the young boy who decided to shoot an aluminum can with a BB gun from point blank range. And every single piece of that aluminum can then became embedded into the front of his eye or his cornea. Now, as the patient, it is horrible. As the young doctor who do a residency because you want new and exciting things, you want to be challenged, you want to see everything that's in our optometry Bible known as the Will's Eye or the Massachusetts Eye and Ear or the Kansky, I was super excited that I had the pleasure and opportunity to remove probably what seemed like a million pieces of aluminum from the front of this young boy's cornea. It kind of reminded me back of a time when I was in school and we literally had a cow eye that I feel like they just stick in all the metal shards so you can practice this technique. And here I had the real live version to sit there and meticulously remove every little piece of aluminum from the front of his eye. So I say that to share, you know, your eyes are your biggest asset, protect them. Try not to do anything irresponsible. But if you are out there and your eyes can be of injury, make sure you wear your safety glasses. There's a lot of foreign body trauma that we see on a regular basis, and most of it probably could have been prevented if people had on their safety glasses. That's including shooting, welding, even mowing the lawn. I probably have more foreign bodies from grass, debris, or other things that I always ask, did you have on safety glasses or any glasses, sunglasses? And more often than not, the answer is no. So I really enjoyed my time at Omni because it gave me exposure to all of the conditions, all of the types of people. Like Dr. Humes was saying, you really learn how to think on your feet. You also really learn how to look at the whole person. And I really learned during my residency, one, how you play one role as a detective, you play one role as like the psychologist and the educator and teacher, but you also play the role, I feel like, as a magician sometimes. It is very magical, like Dr. Ngadi alluded to, when you're able to deliver good news, when you're able to bring someone from a place of not being able to see to seeing. It's a very magical experience. It's also a very magical experience too when patients may not disclose everything about their conditions, and one look at them, or definitely one look inside the eye, and you can pretty much tell someone, hey, you have diabetes, and I would like to guess to think that you've had it longer than 5 years, and let me go out on a limb, and your A1C is probably not 7. And patients are really taken aback when you're able to apply that clinical knowledge and break it down to them, and they're like, uh-oh, the eyes really are the window to the soul or to my health. We are considered, the gatekeepers, that there are things that we tend to diagnose even before a primary care physician would, or even before someone got the test done with it, or the scans or the things of that nature. So that is one of my favorite parts of being a doctor of optometry, is that ability to see things than before any other provider can. The other part that I like about it is when you look inside the eye, it's one of the only places in the body where you get to see live, active blood vessels moving and going. And I think that that is always a fun fact to go off of. After I finished my residency, I worked in several modes of practices, but eventually I had the calling, thanks to Dr. Cleaver again, to relocate to Dallas, Texas, and begin working in a community health setting. So I work for the Dallas County Health and Hospital System. I work in one of their community outpatient clinics. I also provide services at the county jail to patients. So it just really shows me how diverse optometry is. Really, all of us, we represent so many different modes of practices, many different ways you can practice. Some of these ways you can practice multiple ways at the same time and multiple modes at different times. And I think that that's very amazing, how flexible the profession is and how much variety that you have in the profession. The other part that I like about optometry is that ability to not only educate my patients about ocular conditions that may affect them, but just to educate them on my journey in general and hope to influence or inspire other people to pursue a career in optometry. And even if optometry is not the field for you, to encourage everyone to get their eyes examined. That is one of our missions, especially with the National Optometric Association, with Black Eye Care Perspective, with a lot of our optometric organizations, is spreading that message on the importance of at least annual eye exams, letting people know that you don't have to wait till a certain age to get your eyes examined. Many of us who were diagnosed in middle school probably could have started wearing glasses even sooner than that. I have patients all the time that say they want to wait till their child is in kindergarten or a school age before getting their eyes examined. There are thousands of professionals that are able to examine your children from birth. I brought both of my children for their first eye exam between 3 and 6 months old, which is really when it's recommended to get your eyes examined, if not even sooner than that. So if anyone is thinking like, oh, is anyone too young? You're never too young or too old to get an eye examination. I, like Dr. Humes, I also practice in a setting that is predominantly African American and Hispanic. It provides me the opportunity to practice my Spanish, connect with the community and my patients, and also help invoke that trust in a group of people that may not always have access to eye care or healthcare in general, or may not always be able to prioritize it. But I definitely see daily firsthand the difference of having patients that look like you and having those patients be able to identify with the provider that is providing them care. There is a level of trust. There is a level of understanding. There are things at times I know that I can break down and have them understand a little bit differently, because I too am a person of color, and that I'm drawing not only from my clinical expertise and knowledge, but also from personal lived experiences, which really helps people connect to something like diabetes that we may always minimalize to just the sugars. But the sugars is a very serious condition, not only affecting your body, not only affecting your arms and legs, but affecting your eyes. And a lot of times when diabetes is affecting the eyes, it's almost too late. So we definitely want to make sure, I encourage everyone out there, if you are a patient with diabetes and you have not had your eyes examined, get yourself a dilated, meaning that they put the drops in your eyes, eye examination, so that they can look at the back, the retina, and examine your blood vessels and check for any leaking or bleeding, because there are a lot of things that, even though you see perfectly with or without your glasses, could be going on the inside of your eye. And that is what we as doctors of optometry are trained to do, and help you manage, treat if we need to, but also prevent anything that happens. So we would love, for optometry to be part of your self-care, to be part of your healthcare, and to be part of your preventative care. So I definitely encourage everyone, if you have not had your eyes examined, go and get your eyes examined.
Wow. You have truly taken me to school. I was like, wait a minute, that's what that means? So I mean, I guess that's why they said, okay, she's going last because she's going to bring this whole talk home.
All together.
Like everything, even to the point of you did express the importance of the eye exam. I go, but like I always tell you when I talk to you, it's like sometimes she speaks form to me and I get frustrated and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I got you done did the things, my eyes hurt, you done sat me in this dark room, I'm ready to go. But listening to you talk about it, I'm like, okay, now that's why that was that way. So, but you did have a couple of comments, and I think I might have lost it. You did have one from Ms. Norwood, and I'm just, she said, awesome soror.
Hey, Dr. Norwood.
Hey.
And then she also wanted everybody to know she is from the Jackson State University.
I love that.
So yes, you all like I'm speechless, and people watching that usually watch are probably like, "What? You got hurt?" So she don't have anything to say. But your paths are so like, and your journey line story is so amazing. Especially with you two, I didn't even know us talking. He's like, "That was my roommate." I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm thinking we just. Then he's like, "Well, no,
that's my girl."
Yes.
I think there are a few big ones for me when it comes to HBCU. I think in this life, I really think network is just such a big deal, and I think that it has it has literally shaped my life in so many ways at every stage. People think this is funny, and things happen. They're like, Maka, you keep in touch. I know a lot of people. I've been a lot of places. I've done a lot of things, right? And there's most of the time when I get somewhere, there's a story of like there was a connecting bridge that kind of got me there. And I don't want to, I do the work, right? I do the work. You got to do the work. But a lot of the times when you network with people and you don't, there's no way to fake network. Like there's, you got people either want to deal with you or they don't. And I think that the benefit of me going to the HBC was that I was able to form a lot of very genuine relationships at a young age. I've never experienced like undergrad at a PWI. I didn't have any semesters there or any real experiences with that. But like education wise, I went to a Catholic private school, majority white. It was only 10% Black at that school. And then I went to the HBCU and then I went to PCO. And I can just really just attest to the fact that that HBCU experience created such an interweb, with us. And then the other piece is that when you then get out to other places, you start connecting with other persons who have similar stories, which is, I don't know how Essence and Tiffany got connected. But then Tiffany connected me with Essence. And Essence would cook dinner for us and we'd be over there eating. We'd be over there eating and hanging out. And we used to do community service together. And I think that was a big part, a big thing that I got from my HBCU experience was just that, the way we would leave Canal Street, wake up at 5 and 6 in the morning, do community service, find a nap, then hit some sorority stuff, and then start it all over again. And then people would actually go to the church because Xavier's a Catholic. HBCU. I
wasn't gonna say that, but
it is, and I'm a Catholic girl, but I was churched out by the time I got to college, and I would go right past that church, but everybody else was going. People, they would go, they would sing in the choir. I go right past that church, go to Piccadilly.
Studying in between there. People would get home at 2 a.m. They would go to sleep. They would get up. They would study for a couple of hours. They would either go to church or have some breakfast, get home from church, study some more. So I do feel like our HBCU was the breeding ground for learning how to manage our time.
Really? You will learn time management there. You
learn how to manage your time because you want to do everything, and you can if you manage your time.
Right.
That was one of my main things.
She said she stayed out later than the street sweepers. Now, I've been to New Orleans a couple times. I know what time the street sweepers out.
I don't
The
think
street
you
sweepers
can't
come
argue me on
on
this
at
one. New
3.
Orleans is just one of the funnest cities in this country. It's just an amazing place. So I love that I got to experience undergrad in that city, because it wasn't just college, it was the culture, right? We got to do Mardi Gras. There's nothing like it. Like, if you haven't been, you have to go. So it was an amazing experience. And then I love that, you know, we would do sorority events in Philadelphia. So she is an SG row and we're deltas, but she'd be like, "All right, we're doing this over here," and we connected.
Yeah.
So it's a bond that I love for us, and I'm so happy and grateful for it. Being a part of my life. So thank you, ladies.
I love it because you all just gel together, and I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't tell me that before we went on that they was.
But for the record, Essie graduated first, and then me the year after that, and then Dr. Ngadi the year after that. And there are still other little brothers, and you see you brothers and sisters after that. All graduated from PCO.
And I think it's important too. I actually had an interesting conversation because this is upbeat, this is positive, this is great, and I love it. But I did have a conversation with a graduate. I've had 2 conversations like this year, believe it or not, where people have experienced different roadblocks in their career or in their education pathway, and they need somebody to reach out to that can advocate for them or talk to them about something, or just help them kind of normalize what happened, or figure out if there's really some toxic things that happen that need to be discussed further. And so when you have or create those kind of networks, you can reach back and you're not by yourself in this situation. So the network for me, it's the network for me, girls. I love it.
I love it too. I've been meeting many people, and I guess that's getting me out of my comfort zone, truthfully, because I'm not like one of those outgoing and, hey, how are you? But I think that's the way God is pushing me, because every day somebody new I'm meeting, I'm like, okay, well, let me connect you with this person. So it works, but I don't understand Tiffany Rose comment.
I'm sorry, Humes. That's me. But
no, it's on the screen. Tiffany Rose. That's you? Oh,
yes,
girl, you got me thinking somebody wrote something. You play on. I'm like, who is that? Okay.
Well, no, but elaborate on that point, because I have patients that tell me I'm pre-diabetic. Well, no, okay.
So good point.
Cool story.
So the American Diabetes Association has over time changed the guidelines for what it means to be diabetic versus pre-diabetic. But just because they changed the guidelines does not mean that your A1C at 6.1 as pre-diabetic is not causing changes inside your body, because it is. And so we get stuck on the concept of these numbers, but truly, if your A1C is not normal, then you have diabetes. Like, you are developing insulin resistance, and your body is not properly metabolizing sugars. And so you are beginning to have issues all over the place inside your body, even if you never get to the quote unquote number that doctors consider to be actually diabetic, which I think at this point is now 7. But if you're between 5.8 and 7, you're still having abnormal processes occur inside your body. And you can have an A1C of 6.5 and have diabetic retinopathy. So I want everyone to understand that, yes, these numbers may not necessarily.
Sorry.
There are still abnormal processes happening inside your body, and that is a continuum, and that we need to just aim for 5.7 instead of being, oh, my A1C is under 7. No. Your A1C needs to be under 6, because that's really what the goal is. And so part of, I think, for patients, and this is conversations I have every day, is advocating for yourself with your primary care physician. Because if you come into your doctor and you had your blood work and they tell you that you're good, but you don't know what good is. So know your numbers. Know what your A1C is. Know what your blood pressure number goal is. Know what your high cholesterol number is. Know that your LDLs need to be under 200 is what they say, but really they should be under 150 if you're trying to prevent coronary artery disease. Know that your blood pressure should really be under 120 over 80 if you're trying to prevent yourself from having a stroke. So when you do go in to see your primary care physician, ask the actual numbers and write them down so that you can have an understanding of what's happening inside your body, and then you can make changes. Simple changes sometimes, like don't drink Coke 5 times a day. Just maybe drink it once, or don't drink it at all. But there are easy changes because there are people who only drink pop. We call it pop in Michigan. There are people who only drink soda. They don't drink any water. Stop drinking soda, and you might see huge changes in your body. And these are things your care physician may never have said, but they're really very simple things. Know that every insurance company in the United States covers diabetes education classes. They're free with your insurance. If you have been diagnosed with pre-diabetes or diabetes and you have never had a diabetes education class, call your primary care physician tomorrow and get signed up for a class. They are put on by the American Diabetic Association, and you should have that information, and they should have given you that resource. Because only you can make your healthcare change. We here can do all the things inside the exam room, but if you don't step outside that door and make changes inside your lifestyle, then everything we do is in vain. And we can be so invested in making sure that you see well for the rest of your life. But if you don't walk outside that door and make a better choice every time you eat, then everything we do doesn't matter.
That's good.
One of our, I think it was, my memory may be failing me, but somebody said checking eyes and saving lives or something like that. Was that Daryl?
Yeah.
Was that Dr. Glover? That is one of my favorite phrases. I actually think it to myself quite often, and I've never told this story out loud, but a lot of people really do fear going blind, right? So there are silent killers, essence. Dr. Johnson touched on it for 2 seconds, right? I've seen not one, not two, not three, right? Because remember, I'm in an area where I just want to prescribe glasses, right? But I see these things because people come in the street and they say, well, I can't read anymore. And that's what brought you here. Cool. No problem. You're someone that we call a hyper open. So you didn't need glasses most of your life, but now here you are at 40 and you need glasses. But then when I look in the back of your eyes, because I always look, right? I always check the back of the eyes. That's a full exam. Okay. Refractions are not the whole exam, but I do check the back of the eyes, and then I see full blown glaucoma, which is slowly but surely robbing you of your sight, then we have to do something about it. And it becomes very urgent, very serious. We have to take all these drastic measures when we could have seen this 20 years ago if people were getting routine eye exams. So, I think we have very cool jobs. I think most people are going to come and we get them in and out, and, we get them what they need. But what I really want to see is more education on the importance of the routine eye exams and on this field. Because even before I went to optometry school, I've been wearing glasses since I was 8, and I was never dilated.
So, Dr. Ngadi, you make a good point. And that's part of the reason I think we have to change our wording. I think we need to use the word comprehensive. Like, patients need to understand you have not had a comprehensive eye exam unless the doctor checked you for glasses, but also dilated your eyes. Or with these other photo technologies that they have, you may not have to get dilated. But someone took a thorough look at your retina. And your optic. Because
I'll say this, I mean, they call, like, I'm a fun person. I like to keep things upbeat. I like to keep things fun. And sometimes there are people who are like, oh, you don't go by your title, doc. Well, and people are so uptight. But what I want to do, what I've found is I want to relate with people, right? So that when I'm saying these things, I say it. I keep the same speech, and my exam looks the exact same. And so right now we're gonna check your refraction, which is where I determine what prescription you need. And right now we're going to check the health of your eyes. I want to check and see if you have this. And I start to say these words. So, and I hear this, I hear this all the time. It's the best eye exam I ever had, but it's like people are just kind of going and not telling people the stuff. Or so if you tell them, oh, hey, this picture costs this much money, or this and that and that, we have to educate these people on what we're doing. Because then the people are like, do I have to get it? And it's like, well, for the purpose of my license, you do, but also for you, they're your eyes. And I know you want to be able to use them. So yes, I'm gonna recommend that you do something. I am gonna recommend that you get the comprehensive eye exam. And I do not just do refractions. I know I'm casual and I make jokes about it, but they know me, and I am okay with people thinking like, hey, this girl is like, laid back. But the other thing that I want people to know is that I care. I care about what's happening with your vision. I want things to be well with you, and I want to, people to ultimately have good outcomes, and they have to take an active participation in their healthcare, as Dr. Humes mentioned, if they want to have positive outcomes. It's not on the doctor to make that happen. Like, they have to be in partnership with you. You can diagnose and check all day, but they have to be, a part of the partnership to kind of want that good outcome.
But I would also add, that's been like the crazy part with this whole pandemic, that, early on, we weren't deemed essential enough to keep our practices open. And because of those couple of months that people thought optometry was not essential, or dentistry or the other allied health professions, I will say, after 7 years of working at the hospital, this has been the saddest year for me, in examining patients that people may think too, because they're in a minority community, oh, it would have happened anyway. No, because optometry services, dental services, other services were shut down to prioritize for taking care of patients during the pandemic. Nothing's wrong with that. But what is incorrect about it is that even more people no longer had access to care. Now we are scrambling and struggling to get our practices back up, not only from the business standpoint, but on the patient management standpoint. I had people that could literally walk into my door and now they're being wheeled in. Now they have no arms and legs. Now they have no vision. And because they aren't getting the education for it, they're literally looking up at me like, Dr. Johnson, what are we going to do? And sadly, I have to tell them, we are already at the end of the road. We are at end stage. I am referring you for rehabilitative services and devices because I was unable to take care of my patients, even in a hospital setting. So we are already making a larger disparity where people already have problems with access to care. And then when government and other agencies are deeming what's important and what's not, here we are now dealing with the after effects. And these after effects are physical, they're emotional, they're mental, they're psychological. I told one of my managers the other day, this is the equivalent to being in the cancer ward and people dying of cancer for us. When we now have patients that were pretty healthy or that we had their conditions under good control and they are losing vision and, inevitably going blind, that is heartbreaking because optometry is a very compassionate, profession. It is a very personal profession. I think a lot of people, once they do go to the eye doctor, they enjoy the experience. It's not as scary, as some of the other chairs and lights of other professionals. They also, appreciate that we're able to spend some very direct one-on-one time with them. So I encourage you all, to get those eyes examined. If you've been putting it off because our services were shut down, know that it was not our fault. But many of us are back up and running, and we are happy and excited to see you. To all of my fellow doctors' points, it's the messaging and the marketing for me. We each, have the role and responsibility to unify our messages and to improve the marketing of our profession, not only from a patient care standpoint, like come and see us, but also from a public and public health standpoint. We need people to know about optometry. This is going to get me on my soapbox.
Good segue.
Yeah, good segue into
That way, Essence, let's tell them why we wearing these shirts.
Yes,
We'll
I
say
was just like,
About that.
nobody talked about
talk
this.
about anything from diabetes to diversity, and now here is the diversity. I love putting the I, the EYE, in diversity, but this is why we have Impact HBCU. We
Sure
want to touch other Black students like ourselves, especially those at our historically Black colleges and universities, but really at any school, anywhere. We want you guys to know about the profession of optometry. Tomorrow, we will be going live, and I will be hosting our second annual Impact HBCU event where we're going to highlight two other phenomenal Black doctors so you can hear about their modes of practice, so you can learn about how they intertwine their personal passions with their professional aspirations and in practice patterns. We will also highlight our alma mater, the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University will be there, and all of our wonderful industry partners like America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, my eye doctor, and Warby Parker. But we do this because we want to give optometry a voice. We want to also change the face of optometry as well. We don't want to be everybody's first introduction to a Black doctor. While it is flattering, many of us are only like 10 or 11 optometry years old, and we hear almost daily how we are people's first eye exam, how we are people's first introduction to Black eye doctors. We have more than 10 years of Black eye doctors out there, you guys, but we know that we have to put ourselves out there in front of the world, and that is what this event intends to do. We also have our Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club that will meet on the 13th of this month. We meet on the 13th of every month because 13 signifies the number of Black and African American people in the United States according to the census, but sadly optometry does not reflect that. We have less than 3% of students that identify as Black and African American that are attending school. Even less than that, closer to 1.8% are actually practicing optometrists. So me, Dr. Hooms, Dr. Nagati, we are that 1.8%. There's more fat in milk than there is Black optometrists in this world. And we are definitely redefining the color of the eye care industry 1% at a time. By being more visible, by being more vocal, by improving our messaging and our marketing efforts, and providing a place for community. We all talked about how networking is king or queen in this life, especially in this profession. And with Black Eye Care Perspective and the Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club, it is a community. It is a place so you don't have to go through this journey by yourself. We talk about our affinity, our friendship. I know you guys see it from the screens, but we were able to do it because of each other. We are literally 3 generations of big sister, little sisters, and we continue to keep pulling each other along even a decade later. So that is our space for other future optometrists, other future Black or brown optometrists to know other people who are on this journey in all parts of the nation, and help pull each other along so we can not only survive but thrive in
this. Baby. Survival is survival is not the goal. We are thriving.
Is what we're trying to do. Prosper.
Amen.
And you all are truly, I've been like excited the whole time. There has never been a time that I have sat here and just been like speechless because you all are like educating me. And I am one, I will honestly say it. I'm going to be real transparent. I'm honestly one of the ones that hate to get drops. Anytime I go to the eye doctor, it feel like it take a whole day and they send me there. And I mean, I guess, like you said, you have the fear of either losing your eye or something. And I used to rub my eyes a lot. I learned that was not the thing to do like a year ago. I rubbed it so bad that I did something I wasn't supposed to do, and I had to go to like a eye specialist. I was like, I said, but I just rubbed my eye. I don't want to go in there. I mean, because the lady, she had all these different machines. I was scared, I had like a bag of nothing but eye drops, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you can literally rub your eye to the point that you're changing the shape of it. You could rub your eye to the point that you are injuring it or scarring it. And definitely, as we know, more hands to the face can give you more infections and things of that nature too.
Oh Lord! Well, I learned the hard. I guess you would say I learned the hard way when I came back with that bag of eye drops and couldn't like see for a couple of days. I was like, I won't rub my eye again anytime I just deal with the allergies of Texas and County.
One of the most amazing things about what we do is that most of the things that happen we can fix. Most of the things that happen in the front of the eye, injuries and traumas and things like that, we can actually 100% heal you. And so that is one of the gratifying things about the work that we do is those people who do have those foreign bodies, they'll maybe see 2020 again in a couple of days. And that is absolutely miraculous if you think about how the body works. To be able to see 2020 again after having aluminum shattered in your face.
Right, because when Dr. Johnson said that, I was like, I don't know if I would be able to even look at that and try to pull anything out. She was like, no, it was fun. I'm like,
I mean, that is fun.
My first foreign body, it was at Omni as well.
God.
And
there's a lot of foreign bodies.
She was a dental assistant. She got plaster in her eye. But the thing was, it really was like almost on the edge of the cornea. So it was almost going into like the sclera. So I'm like, is that, and it's Saturday. I was on call because things like this only happen on Saturday. They don't happen during Monday through Friday.
People, that means it's at the edge of the brown and the white part of your eye.
Okay, so I couldn't tell, and I was new. I was new to the game. I didn't know what was going on, but I had to buckle down. I had to be confident, and then I was like, okay, this looks raised, and I plucked it out. And the next day that lady sent me Sherry's berries. She was so grateful. Got some chocolate covered strawberries out of the.
That's amazing.
Some Sherry's berries.
Oh goodness.
I mean, it's crazy though, whether it's aluminum, it's plaster, or even an eyelash, just how being able to just
painful.
Bloop,
bloop, yep.
And then everyone is like, oh.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's literally been people who have had eyelashes and it's hard for them to get out. And for days, they're like, my eye's been red and watery. You look inside the eye, you flip the eyelid and things like that. And you're like, it was literally just the hair.
Okay. And
this is what was bothering you.
And then you show it to them on the Q-tip. Or the
like, really?
Look.
That is
put it in a Ziploc bag and give it to you with your name on it and stuff like that. You can take it home.
Ladies, this was great.
That is
so great.
Yes, we have been an hour, but I do not want to leave until we talk about these frames. I know we talked about them offline, but I'm like in frame jealousy mode right now. I'm low key inside, like I'm about to just draw me some frames on the screen so I can match y'all style. But you
yourself a filter. I love it
because they are up. You have to tell us about these frames. You went into it, but you didn't really tell us. Like
I didn't go into it. Okay, so again, I did not. I personally, and had a lot of patients also had difficulties finding frames that fit. And so people wanted stylish frames. Okay, they wanted to make a statement without speaking. And they wanted frames that fit their features. And so that's where the whole incept. Tiffany's wearing some, and then Essence is wearing my frame chain that I made. So frame accessories, because my brand is about making a statement without speaking, so people can see things and you can just feel good. I think some confidence comes out of wearing things that are beautiful. So that is important to me as well, the aesthetic. But yes, I have 8 styles with different colors. Amwali is my middle name. It's an Igbo name, and it means joy. So I am also dedicated to making eyewear a pure joy. The first collection that I put out is called the Royal Collection. It is named, the frames are named after members of my family and some of the traits that they exhibit. So this one right here, this is the Uche frame. It is named after my big sister.
Big sister Uche.
Fabulous and fancy, and definitely a statement piece. These ones are named after my mama. This is the Ada frame. It also is, that means first daughter in my language. So these are named after my mom, who is the queen. These ones are named after my niece. She's the newest member, but this is the Amara frame. Amara means grace, and it's also designed to be sassy and graceful. So I wore these on my wedding day. I love them in ivory. This is the Azuka frame. This is my little brother's frame.
Oh.
Those are
So this actually is a really beautiful unisex frame.
I like the
And I have several. Each of the frames have different colors. I'm not going to bore y'all with that, but this frame is just absolutely stunning. It looks great on men and women. And then this frame is the Igwe frame. Igwe in our language means king, and since my dad is the king, I named this frame after him. Who don't like a bad pair of aviators, baby?
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't love a fabulous pair of aviators? I do.
But no, if you
like on to get a mucka and smile, you know that's like your.
That's the thing.
Smile.
Like, I just, when you smile and it doesn't push the glasses all the way up like this, it's just it's a different world. Thank you, Daryl. Daryl, I got to show you the frames. We got to set up a virtual meeting. All right, and then the other two frames are named. This one is called Udo, which means peace, because y'all know that's my why. Peace and joy are my why. People always ask me, what are your whys? Peace and joy are my whys. So this is the peace frame. And then this my last style is called the Infunaya frame, which means love. So I got my family, I got peace, I got love, and I got joy. And it's all good over here. And it's a new brand, but I am looking to do wholesale so that people can go into their doctor's offices and try them on. And then also you can buy them direct to consumer right now online. And so just check out the line. And if anyone wants to see anything, any other doctors want to look at it, or if you think your optometrist should be carrying the frame line, just let me know. And I would be more than happy to connect with them. So yeah. Awesome. And my friends have been super supportive, but I think what they know, maybe somebody else can speak to it. There's a place for this in the industry, right? Because most frames are designed with European features in mind. And they just are. So now we're starting to have more and more diversity in eyewear. And I found some diversity when I started looking, but as part of what we're saying, the marketing, the reach, we have to change the reach of this. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it certainly is for quite a few, right? And so we want to be representative of ourselves, and we want to see ourselves in these designs and in things that fit. Even think about almost like the plus size community.
Facts.
Hello.
Like you think about the way fashion has changed to include people. We even think about the way fashion has changed to not be super gender specific, to not be super that we are making things in accommodation so that we have a more inclusive world. And I think that's actually something that's very beautiful that's going on right now in culture. Amidst some of the madness, amidst some of the craziness, I have started to see this idea of diversity and inclusion and just really creating a more inclusive world and a more inclusive universe. Our world is getting smaller and smaller. Our separation between cultures, races, everything is changing. And I just love that we're being able to kind of, diversify and let there be space for everyone. So yeah, thank you for letting me talk about the frame line. I could talk about that all day.
Yes, I had to, because I've been sitting watching them change different frames, all you like in unison. I'm like, okay, well, my poor little frames, I changed it to. Y'all looked at me like, So
well, no, I would like to say that we looked at you like
I was excited about my backup.
I know we can get you. I know we can get you framed better.
Dr. Hentz in San Antonio. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, give me some
Dr. Hentz.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do.
Get you right together.
Thank you. I can't wait. I'm going. I am definitely going. But I truly, truly have enjoyed you all. It doesn't matter we go over time because I pay the StreamYard bill here. But like it's my platform. But I really, really appreciate you all bringing it. Addressing the elephant in the room, far as the diabetes, the silent killers that are within people's eyes, and people don't really look at that. So I hope, people are taking this serious, not taking it lightly. Yes, I know COVID has, we heard Dr. Johnson passionately say how COVID has affected, the eye community. And I'm like, yeah. And she brought a lot of things to light that I know had me kind of sitting back there like, did I do that? Did I do this too? I go get my eye exam, but like I said, it's never a person of color. And a lot of times just being, naming it for people, we don't usually trust everybody, especially people that don't look like us, in dealing with health. I'm just going to name that. And sometimes it's people that are either, mid Eastern, and the language barrier is there and we shut down, so I'm glad you addressed that. Go get your eye exam, please. And I just appreciate you all coming on here, even telling scholars, because I know some of my scholars are watching because that's what I signed them to do. Because they didn't believe me either. They're like, you don't know no 3 women of color doctor. I'm like, they some bad chicks, trust me. We do, and they are HBCU graduates, would make me even more prouder, but the fact that you all came on here, and each one of you all in your own different backgrounds, different barriers, different things, taught the lesson of perseverance and togetherness, which is something that, we all know is that a lot of people just try to, when we're in this close-knit field, they try to do things to divide us. But I'm like, goodness, they stuck together, and they all said it for each other. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have graduated. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't graduate. And I think that message too that you all brought tonight, was really teaching me some, taught me some things like, yes, it do exist. It do exist. And you all are displaying that for young people that are coming up behind you. Like, it takes all of us to work together to accomplish a goal, not being jealous of one another, not, undercutting each other. It's sisters working together for the good. So I truly, truly appreciate y'all. Anything I can do from the bottom of my heart, if I need to share, if I need to do an event for you, if you need me to model some frames, if you need to do anything, I got you. I definitely have you.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful meeting with you and speaking with you tonight. This is awesome energy. Truly appreciate the invite.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, y'all like, what's she about to ask us to do? As always, I always like to end on a motivational note. So if each of you all, if you have a last push or something motivational that you would want to share to a person that may want to pursue the field, because she said it's milk got more percent. I heard you. I heard you, Dr. Johnson. I heard you. But as a final push, because there are some high school students that are fearful and may want to go in that field, but like I shared with you earlier, it's some teachers that are dream killers.
Absolutely.
And we have to be there for our kids, and that's one thing I do advocate for. And they will tell you in a heartbeat, no, she will show up and show out when it comes to somebody telling us what we can't do. So, as a final moment, you're like,
I'll do. We can go in the order we started with. So I'll go first. My final comment is that you can have the life that you want.
Period.
Anything you want to be, you can have that life.
Period. Fact though.
I will say, and this is actually a quote that I learned in optometry school. Goals are purely dreams with deadlines. Literally never stop believing in the power of dreaming. Keep dreaming.
Hometown, if you ain't fill my bucket today.
Hey, Detroit, 313 up in here, y'all.
My final thought, opportunities. I always speak about opportunities, creating your own opportunities, taking advantage of all the opportunities. And you have some great opportunities this week. Tomorrow with Impact HBCU. So register at blackeyecareperspective.com. That's your opportunity to virtually hang out with us and meet Black doctors. And if you guys are interested in the pre-optometry club, you have that opportunity on the 13th. I had extended to Miss Monique. If she has any students who just want to pop in, say hey, and just feel that energy, just be in that presence, I think that is the best gift that you can have. We survive because of the opportunities, because of the networks, because of the people that surround us. So if you are around those dream killers, get away from them, because there are thousands, millions, billions other cheerleaders who are there for you physically and virtually, and you have 3 new cheerleaders right here. If there's one thing we like to do, is cheer each other on, and help bring up that next generation, because we now know we are the doctors that people want to shadow, see, and meet and be, and we are here for y'all.
Amen.
Definitely. And again, thank you. I will be there tomorrow cheering in the background. Cheering for you. I will have my kids there as well. And thank you for coming on a Monday for a special edition. Let's talk about it. I have truly enjoyed you all, the energy, the lessons. I'm like, I done went to school. But I will tell you all, you heard them, don't rub your eye. I had the medicine for the proof.
Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you.
Thank you.